Hello, folks. MayesBoy 91 here, alongside my co-host, Mr. Menaki.
And that's it. We're it.
Yeah, unfortunately, Suitcase can't make it tonight.
The Suitcase is working a whole bunch of other things. Screwed him over this week.
Yeah, work screwed him over, and he had to pick a friend up of his from the airport, and wouldn't have had enough time to get sleep.
I mean, he's here half asleep sometimes anyway.
You're right.
But I can understand with the work. Like, I'm barely here to begin with.
Yeah.
And then we were going to begin, if we could, our D&D talks, starting off with some DM stuff. We were going to get Grizz back on here, but Grizz had shenanigans going on. He ain't feeling good. So it's just us.
Yes.
We got backup topic, but it's just us. So this might be shorter.
Yeah, it might be.
But that's okay.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to have a short podcast every now and then. This one will be short, but say we should first tackle some of the stuff we want to talk about before we get to the main topic. Do you want to start, Menaki? You want me to start, or?
I am tired. Go ahead. It's been a long week already. I had stuff go down yesterday. I wasn't happy with it.
So this past week, the Nintendo Direct happened.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I really didn't care about a lot of the games on that, I'll be honest.
No, let's be real. The only one that really mattered, they showed the footage for it, was ZA. That's it.
Well, that, and also, I mean, I'm not a big Metroid fan, but they finally showed Metroid.
I tried. Not for me.
And it's not for me either, but I just find it funny how they promoted it like when the system first started so many years ago. And they're like, yeah, we're going to end the life cycle of the first Switch and show stuff about the new Switch coming up in a few days. We should probably show off this game now.
Oh, wait, we got Metroid. My bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it really doesn't matter because they say you'll be able to play Switch 1 games on the Switch 2, so they probably figured, yeah, I can play it on either one, so we'll just show it now. Which, I don't know. I'm not a big Metroid fan, but I think it actually looks pretty cool.
It's all right.
There was this, like, psychic stuff that you can do to lift things. I thought that was pretty neat. And like Menaki said, they showed another trailer for ZA, which we finally got a reason why it's called ZA, because we thought it was going to be like an A legendary or something, but turns out it's a ranking system.
Yep.
For battling. So
ZA Battle Royal.
Yeah, so
I'd look forward to that.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what the final like C, B, and A levels will be, like what the level cap would be.
Is that boy running around up there?
Yeah.
Dude's got some weight to him.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Now we can hear my dog walking in the kitchen upstairs. They said the least it better be. I don't know what else it would be. There's like a raccoon upstairs and my dog didn't attack.
I don't know if it's a raccoon from Incredibles 2. He made a super proud baby to fight that thing.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Sorry, that completely distracted me.
And they showed more battles, more mega evolutions of returning megas coming back.
Gyarados, Alakazam. Probably Gallade if I was fully paying attention.
Yeah, Gallade was there. Salamence, Mega Salamence. They also showed... They've officially showed all 3 elemental monkeys.
Yep.
So, which is nice. Pat Rat's in the game.
I don't care for the monkeys. I don't care for Pat Rat, but it's nice.
But it's the fact that now all the Pokemon are officially on the Switch.
Yep.
Because even Frou-Frou, you can get him in the game now.
Yep. Well,
so
yeah. But at least now officially, if they fill out the Pokedex with enough, if not all of the Pokemon from Black and White, just enough, because then the other games have filled out the rest of them. Every Pokemon quote unquote game / Pokemon itself that was on the original 2D format is now 3D.
Yeah. Yep.
Because X and Y started it. Okay, we're back in Kalos with Lumio City. That's cool. Then we got Sun and Moon. What else was on the Switch? Or Switch 3DS. X and Y.
ORAS.
X and Y, ORAS. So we got that.
And Ultra Sun and Moon.
Ultra Sun, Moon, Sun and Moon. And then they put Kanto on the Switch. So the Kanto went through. The only one that really hadn't gone 3D technically was Johto. They haven't hit 3D yet. In terms of
but
games.
they have.
They've got the remakes, which put them kind of 2.5.
Which, well, they did technically with Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl.
In Johto?
Yeah, because you can get all of the Pokemon from Kanto up to Sinnoh in that game.
Yeah, so in terms of
technically
Pokemon,
it is 3D.
Johto. Yeah. And then we got Kanto's on the Switch. They put Sinnoh, which was the next one that needed a remake, was Sinnoh. Turned out to be hot doo-doo butter, because then you give me Arceus 3 months later.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I say this every time at work. I'm like, I'm not trying to deter you from buying your Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I am not. I just wish I was more hyped for this than I was, because then 3 months later you drop Arceus.
Yeah.
And then you put all your focus in Arceus, and then Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl is hot garbage. Like Diamond and Pearl, I'll just wait till we get to that Gen 4 topic. I'm going to tear those games apart. Let me knock it in this topic right now. But
going back to ZA.
ZA.
They showed more battles, which, again, I keep saying this, like I said about the first trailer, the game looks clean.
It looks so much more polished
a lot
than
cleaner
Scarlet and Violet.
than what they showed for Scarlet and Violet.
I told you this on the way to dinner. I like the fact that they, quote unquote, dumbed down the coloration for the Pokemon. To where it's not like, I don't have real life textures. I don't need them. I don't need to see scales on my Totodile. That'll just look weird.
Exactly.
Just let me have my Totodile.
Oh, yeah. People are complaining that, oh, this looks like crap. It's too cartoony and the colors are so bland.
It's Pokemon.
They've never had realistic graphics.
No, not even in Scarlet and Violet.
Even with Pokemon Snap, the new Pokemon Snap. Yeah,
they still look cartoony, but they look amazing.
Yeah, they did make things look really nice and crisp in that game.
Like you take the glowy off that Meganium still looks phenomenal.
Oh yeah, but the problem is with Snap, there's a hell of a lot less Pokemon in that game compared to the other games. Because they didn't have like 800 Pokemon in Snap, did they?
In the original?
No, in the Switch version.
Yeah, there's a fat chunk, but there ain't that many.
I've never really attempted to get every single picture, so...
See, my gripe with it is the same gripe I had with OG Pokemon Snap. You got to play through the level again about 6 times before you can get to the night version, and then you got to play through both of them a good bit till you get to the next map.
Yeah.
I'm just like...
I think that's what kind of turned me off from the
I've
new
tried.
Snap.
I have it. I've legitimately tried, and I'm just like, I'm bored now.
Yeah.
Because like you try to get the cool picture of Florges or whatever. You try to get the picture of Eevee chasing Pikachu or whatever. You get the picture. You get the score. Okay, now what?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's nothing left.
Yeah. Which I just stick to the hardcore main games.
Yeah.
So.
And Pokken is only fun with your friends for a little while.
Yeah. Especially when you play as Gengar and you just completely break the game.
I play... So, like, for the one on the Switch, I play Blastoise. Because I like Blastoise. But ZA, they dropped, which I'm so glad they put him in the game where he's in the base game and not in... well, technically he's in the base game in Scarlet and Violet. But I'll need to bring this up because I got his shiny form in the Blueberry Academy. We got Crocodile.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why that Pokemon really grew on me. I love that boy.
Mm-hmm.
And they got like Chandelure, Florges, which, as I said, I hope White Flower Florges is not rare to find. Yeah. Because I just saw White Flower Floette and Flabebe in that trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it'll be easy to spot them now because everything's in the overworld.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, if I'm going to use Florges, I'm going to use the rarest one. Red's boring, blue's only good, and you got the shiny because his leaves are purple.
I mean, obviously, I would use a blue one, but...
Then you got the yellow one and the orange one. Yeah, orange one's all right, but if you're playing X and Y, Trevor's got the orange one. I don't want to copy him. My Florges is cooler because it's white flower. But
just get him from Area Zero.
I don't want to beat the game first to get the stinking Florges. I'm talking about X and Y too, but then I hope. Well, they're probably going to be early game in ZA anyway.
Yeah, more than likely. What? All right.
Random thought. Has Pyro been in a trailer yet?
Yes.
Has he? Okay, cool.
He was technically in the first.
Was he in the first one? I thought
because you saw, you know how they had like all the outlines of the Pokemon.
Yeah.
You had the bird flying through.
I'm trying
it showed
run
Pyro.
through X and Y Pokemon minus starters. See who's been in the trailer yet. Diggersby was in this one. What I want to know, if they drop him in here, how are they going to do Vivillon this time? Because Scarlet and Violet, the only Vivillon you could find is the fancy pattern one. Doesn't matter where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing becomes, is it going to be a different Vivillon where your 3DS Switch is registered?
Probably, I wouldn't doubt it. I'm sure there'd be some way to. I'm hoping there's some way to like trade.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping at least
because you can't do it in Scarlet Violet. Because even if you're in like, I don't know, Australia, you're still going to get the fancy pattern Vivillon. Doesn't matter where you catch your Scatterbug. I don't know. Well, let me take that back. I don't know if it's just wild Vivillon, or if it's even if you catch a Scatterbug and evolve it all the way through, will it still evolve in the fancy pattern, or you get the one you registered at? Because we logically will get the polar version, which is the dark purple or the dark blue wings with the white dots that are snowflakes.
Right.
I don't know if they all stay fancy pattern or the Scatterbug evolution goes up to where your 3DS is or
I don't know.
Switch is registered, not your
Because
3DS.
I've gotten a few of the different pattern ones through trade.
Well, trade's one thing. That's probably because they brought them over.
Yeah.
I don't know if you. I might actually test that out probably tonight or tomorrow and come back. I don't know. On the Game Pass, be like, hey, they're all different, or if it's just a Waldo. I don't know. Maybe. Anyways, back to that stuff. Sorry, I was running through Pokemon in my head. And then I got to Vivillon. I'm like, wait.
One of the other things I wanted to talk about really quick. So recently I've been listening to a couple of different bands. One of the ones I found, they have a lead singer. They have a female lead singer. And
is this the band I'm thinking of?
What?
Is this the one you showed me?
Not the one we were listening to the car, no.
Oh.
It's another band. They're called Spirit Box. Have you ever heard of them?
Box or Pox?
Spirit Box, B-O-X.
I have not, but I'm going to put them on my list.
So look up Spirit Box Jaded.
I don't want to get copyrighted, so I'm going to make a new note for it.
Yeah, you can't obviously play it on the podcast, but... No, so... Like I said, they have a female lead singer. She's a really good singer.
Hold on, I got to go through a tutorial on my notepads. I just downloaded this like 20 minutes ago.
Download Google Notes.
It wasn't on my thing. Well, actually it was. I just found the first one. Anyway, go ahead with your thing.
So, it's heavy metal. She does some screamo every now and then. Like Jaded has a really badass guitar riff in the opening, and I've only listened to a handful of their songs, but I think they're a really cool band. One of the fucking music videos that they have, the lead singer is like a blonde-haired wife, and I don't know the full story of the song or the lyrics yet, but it shows her like hugging her husband, and the husband stabbed in the back with a bunch of knives.
Yikes!
And then it shows her naked in a bathtub. I mean, obviously not showing anything.
Yeah.
And the bathtub's filled with blood.
Yikes!
So it's like, what the? That's why I wanted to kind of figure out what the lyrics are about, because you know how they have music videos that don't even pertain to the song.
Yeah.
So I was trying to figure it out, but
This is why you find the lyric video.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do that. And
Or look them up.
yeah. So they're a sick band. I enjoy them. And then another band I recently discovered. They're called, the artist, Bill Murray.
Like the actor?
I guess it's just the artist. That's what he's called. Blumuri.
I heard Bill Murray.
Yeah, Bill Murray. Bilmuri.
You spelled blue before.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm like, I heard Bill.
my bad. But so it kind of threw me off at first because one of the first songs I heard from him has like this mandolin doing like an intro. And then all of a sudden you just get this really heavy fucking distorted guitar riff chime in. And during one of his songs, he has a fucking saxophone solo in it.
Bro,
And it's
I love
like,
a good saxophone solo.
this shit is weird, but I dig it. So, and then one of his other songs, I'm trying to think of what they're called. You know, they have like those like African like flutes that you hear in like The Lion King or something. He had that in one of his songs with like heavy distorted guitar in it. And it's just a weird combination. And then when you hear him sing, you picture like a modern country artist.
Oh, damn. Okay. You were talking about this earlier.
Did I?
Not, well, you said it to me and the guy I live with at,
Oh, yeah, I did. And I forgot that you were there.
was it church?
It might have been at his house.
So when was the last time you actually talked with him and me at the same time?
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
But it just,
Stuff runneth over when you have long weeks.
yeah. It just threw me off on what the style was. And then I looked up some of his music videos. The music videos look like something we would do. Like we just have like someone holding a phone camera and we're just doing random shit.
I'm with it.
And it's just not like really all that serious. But the reason why I'm mentioning these guys is I saw one of their live performances on YouTube yesterday. Holy shit, was that a good show.
Hey, there you go.
And they just have him, the lead singer. He plays guitar every once in a while for rhythm. They got the lead guitarist, they got a girl on saxophone, and they got a drummer. But it's like really fucking heavy and fucking lights flashing everywhere. Whole crowd's going crazy. And it's like, damn, that would have been a cool show to have been at physically.
So a lot of them are.
It was a really good, like they were really good live. I'd love to see that group live now.
Hey, if y'all listening, let's go.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something else. I don't even know what I was gonna say. I'm tired.
Y'all listening.
Let's go.
But so those are the couple of new bands I've been listening to lately. And I was going to tell you this. I told you I was going to save it for the podcast.
Yep.
So yesterday, I'm looking at my Facebook. And you know how they do the then and now pictures?
Yeah.
You posted this then and now you picture a modern picture now.
Yeah.
So I look, and there's a black and white dog in his bed. And it said I posted this picture in 2018. I'm like, wait, 2018? How old is Buddy? I thought he was only
You
like,
ain't had him that long.
so it's like I've only had him for, he's only going to be like 3. So I start trying to think about it. I'm like, am I not paying attention that much to my years are just flying by? So I start freaking out and I text my mom. It's like, how old's my dog? And she's like, he's just turning 3. And then I realize it's not my Shih Tzu, it was their Shih Tzu.
Which one?
The black and white one that they had years back.
Max?
No. You don't remember their black and white Shih Tzu they had?
Your parents?
Yeah. Maybe you weren't coming around much then.
2018. I remember Max, I remember Chloe, and I remember the other Buddy.
That one, the other Buddy is the black and white one.
I thought he was fully black.
No, that was... Crap, I forgot his name now. No, that was another one.
Okay, like I could only remember like Chloe, Max, and then the other one.
Yeah, so
then,
that was the other one.
And then that ding dong upstairs.
Yeah, so...
I'm sitting there going...
So, yeah.
What?
So my parents had a black and white Shih Tzu, And what happened was my mom started taking care of this dog. He was much older, so he didn't really last that many years. So literally, if you put a picture of him next to my Shih Tzu, my black and white Shih Tzu, they look very similar to each other with the long hair.
Quick glance is like, bro, hold on, what?
So that's what I was freaking out. It's like, I haven't had my dog that long. And then I realized, oh, that's her dog. That's why. Oh, my gosh. Like I'm
sitting there going like, bro, you got him the same day I got my PS5.
Yeah.
It ain't been that long.
Well, that's why I was freaking out. It's like, am I not paying attention that much to where my years are going by that quickly? So, yeah. So we're all good. I got my head back on straight. And I can cool down now and I'm gonna say this to all the youngins out there: once you get older, time goes by a lot faster.
And then you blink and it's like, holy moly, it has been that long.
Yeah,
'cause I had that moment Thursday actually. I just kind of sitting on the front porch, just kind of enjoying the weather while we had it a little bit because I knew it was gonna rain a little bit later. And I got thinking stuff. I'm like, I've been in this house for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma's been in the ground for 6.
That's
this will be year 6.
That's hard to believe, dude.
And it's been like, it seems like only like a year ago that everything kind of went downhill. But I'm like, no, it's been over half a decade. I'm like, holy moly!
And I won't get into too much detail, but for the people who did not listen to our trauma podcast in season 1, essentially Menaki was forced to be kicked out of his house that he lived in since at a very young age. Yes.
But that in perspective, it's 2025 when we're doing this, so it's been a long time. But if you want that particular story, I believe my trauma dump was the last part. I
I'm pretty sure.
So
I think it was. I think it was part 2.
So that would have been part 2.
The majority of mine was part 1, going into part 2. Then it was suitcase,
and then I took up.
And then you did the last bit.
Not to overshadow suitcase, I took up most of part 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just wild. I'm like, wow, it has been that long.
Yeah.
Because then I remember the day I met the guy I live with now. I'm like, this is gonna be. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be weird, but one of those times like I'm just gonna be awkward like I usually am. No, wasn't too long. I just needed.
You just needed to calm down.
I needed to calm down. I needed to get that last year away from me.
Yeah.
Which he understood. And now there's times he can't get me to shut up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I need like all of 2020. I was just fighting stuff, but like, I just needed to get that year away from me.
Yep.
Manager got mad at me because I took the one day off. One day I worked to calm down because I move in Sunday night. Monday I go back to work. I'm like, no, I need to calm down.
Anything else you want to throw in, Menaki, before we get to the main subject?
Let's see. Long work week, ZA. I'll put this out now just so I can hold myself to it. I have nothing going on tomorrow afternoon after church. I've mentioned this to you, and I've mentioned this to Suitcase probably. If Grizz listens to this, he'll know about it. We're not done with the draft quite yet for that wrestling thing.
Can we get a couple more views on that video, please?
Yeah, please.
For the folks, I worked real hard for the 31 subscribers we have.
Please.
I mean, I'm not saying you have to,
send
put a billion likes on it, but
send all your friends at the libraries and
because it has like 2 views.
The old lady.
I'm sorry, it's not the traditional kind of podcast that we do. But
we could think anywhere else to put it. Okay.
Yeah, because it technically wasn't. I mean, it was gaming. But,
it could have been gaming, but it wasn't.
And we did a lot of talking. So.
But I'm going to randomly pick 10 more for each roster myself and post that to the Maximum Mouthage Facebook page. If you ain't following that, you want to keep up with this thing.
Yes, all the stuff Maximum Mouthage and the gaming channel, we throw onto our Facebook book.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to draft like, hey, Grizz drafted so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so. And then Mays has drafted so-and-so, and da-da-da. And then by the end of it, I will open the floor By the way, I still got to get you 3 your roster list that I wrote down. Just so you have them and so you can tweak them to how you would like. After I get those 10 drafted, the floor will be open to trades from one roster to the other, which we've already got one set up between Suitcase and myself. And anybody else you would like to not think you have potential with and swap them out for somebody else. That will be done through Facebook Shorts or what have you.
Yeah.
But I will start that up tomorrow just so I can hold myself to it. And I figured out a day that this will actually start because it just feels right. Because that's how it starts in the My GM mode to begin with. The night after WrestleMania 41 Night 2, which is the day after Easter Sunday. Funny enough, Night 2 is Easter Sunday. I'll figure it out by then. We'll figure it out how we're going to do this, get everything set up. But the Maximum Mouthage 4-way My GM competition will start the night after WrestleMania 41, which is whatever Easter Sunday falls in. I think it's like a month away. So it's like the 19th and 20th or 20th and 21st, I think. So it's either going to start April 21st or April 22nd, whichever one it falls on.
All right.
And it just feels right because they all started, I think, they still started like the night after WrestleMania. Anyway, so yeah, look forward to that. But I'm getting that out now just so I don't forget. Right. And then I can hold myself to it. But yeah, that's my plan for that.
All right.
And then we'll do other random crap between now and then.
Anything else?
That. Mm-hmm.
I don't want to start getting to the main subject, and it's like, oh, wait, hold on.
Mm-hmm. Tom Skinny's going to die because he called out of work today. Yeah, I'm looking at you.
Little skinny pencil neck bastard.
Listen, I know why you called out of work. I ain't going to throw you under the bus, but I know why you called out of work. You ain't got no family thing going on.
You damn magic loving card inhaling.
Listen, I get it. I'd love to have one that I do this, but I don't even fully play Lorcana. So I know I'd still love to again.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind trying that game again.
But
nice.
No, I think I'm good.
All right. So, folks, the main subject that Menaki and I are going to talk about tonight.
It's just us, so yeah.
Yeah. So this is a subject that's a lot easier for Menaki.
Yeah, because that's what I do.
Yeah, I had to physically think about the ones I physically finished. But books, just different kind of authors and stories that we have read between each other.
Yeah.
Now
I'll probably forget some and they'll be on your list or whatever. Or the some that I've read just because I wanted to finish them, but they weren't that great.
Yeah. So, like I said, I had to physically write them down because I'm not one to read many books. Lately, I've been doing more audio books because...
Which I still need to do, but I need to find one that I ain't got to pay for.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to find free ones.
So there is one that Chris turned me on to, but the problem with it is you got to pay for it to do the cool stuff.
Yeah.
Which it's Speechify, so you can literally set your phone down on top of a book and it scans the whole stupid thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to pay for it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I got to go through, if you take Game of Thrones, right, as a book, and it's 700, 800 pages, you literally have to physically scan the page by page and get it lined up right so they can actually read the thing to get it to do the audio.
Ugh.
Rather than just set your book on the thing, you page by page by page. And I'm like, no. Yeah. Or you got to find it on PDF and hopefully it doesn't have all that jumble at the beginning of it.
Wow.
All the jumble, a whole bunch of random symbols. You don't know what it means.
Mm-hmm.
You got to find that. I'm like, yikes.
Want me to start with the
couple
I got?
Go with yours. I mean, I got my list, but my list might change depending on yours.
Oh, mamma mia. So, one of the most recent ones that I started reading. So one of my favorite authors is a guy named James Patterson. Very famous author. He does many different series of books.
You might know him from Maximum Ride.
Yes. I'll get to that.
Or
one of the ones that I recently started reading is, it's not the same name every time, but the first one is I think the first one's Texas Outlaw. And then it's Texas Ranger, I think. It might be the other way around. But anyways, you play as this Texas Ranger who...
You're playing it now?
Hmm?
You're playing it now? You just said you play as Texas Ranger.
Well, in your mind.
The main character is a Texas Ranger.
Yeah, I mean, in your mind, you're reading it from the point of view of him, essentially. You know, he's describing all the stuff that happens to him.
Boy.
So, and with video games, I'm used to saying playing as. So.
Yep.
But it's James Patterson has his own special way to put yourself into the perspective of the main character. And thing is, he doesn't, for the main character, a lot of times he won't go into major detail what your main character looks like. Like, he'll give you some details, but he won't go over everything. He does more details with the people around you, especially women. Like, because there's a lot of like sex scenes in those books. But it kind of makes it to where you can paint your own picture of what the character looks like in your head with a little bit of description that he gives you.
Yeah.
And with this Texas Ranger series, you're just like I said, you're just this badass Texas Ranger going through. There's these main crimes that you have to solve throughout the entire book. First one, there was this killer that kept killing these random people, and he had to try to figure out who it was. He had a suspicion it was this one guy that he knew from his high school that was jealous of him. So this whole time he thought it was him, got him on a wild goose chase and chasing him, and turns out it was somebody else. And he starts dating this country music singer. Like, he describes this chick as a smoking hot blonde chick. And then in the second book, there's some people missing, and then there's this kind of crooked acts happening with the government around town, and it's a small town, and he's not around his girlfriend because she's off traveling, doing her album and all that, and he starts working with this Puerto Rican detective chick who he thinks is really attractive. So it's just... I'm summarizing these books in a few sentences. They're like full-length books. And
you ain't done a book report in like 15 years.
Yeah. And eventually gets to the
God, I just said that.
Yeah. And eventually gets to the point in the story where he's like, I kind of like this she might be I don't remember if she's Puerto Rican or she's darker skin with dark black hair. So it's like, I don't know if I'm kind of falling for her now, or it's kind of not working with the country singer and I because she's always on the road. So he wasn't really sure what to do. And then there's like, whenever there's like gunfights or shootouts or big fights like that, like physical confrontations in the James Patterson books, he really goes into heavy detail about what happens. And like, you can picture every single scene just perfectly in your mind. It's like, oh, shit's about to go down. This shit is about to fucking hit the fan, and it's going to be awesome. And speaking of James Patterson, one of the other books I just read, what the fuck was the name? Violets Are Blue. And it was actually I mentioned it to you, that there's these vampires eating all these people. Well, not eating them, but like sucking the blood out of them.
Oh, yeah.
Now, with that one, so
he goes there.
The two main
think about him, them, now think about it with the vampires.
Yeah, so the two main vampires in the book are just sucking the blood out of all these victims and leaving these just horribly bloody scenes, just blood all over the place. The person just dried up, shrunken up from all the blood being sucked out, and just these horribly graphic scenes. And these vampire dudes are like very attracted to both men and women, and it doesn't matter what the age is. There's one part in the book where he's saying like this 18-year-old chick is like succulent and supple and
Bro.
he's describing an 18-year-old, but he doesn't want to like do her. He wants to like suck the blood out of her, but he makes it sound sexual. It's like, ugh.
Because the vampires, that's why half the time vampires are succubus.
Yeah, and it really, like I said, with how James Patterson writes, really puts in your head of how these guys would look and act, and it's like, ugh, gross. And
that's
the main character in it is Alex Cross. Now
that's one of his books.
Yes, it's an Alex Cross book.
That's kind of wild. I haven't heard that name in a hot minute.
So, with him, he's not only trying to figure out all these stories because he's like, oh, I don't believe. At the beginning of the book, he's like, vampires, whatever. I don't believe in any of that. But once he kind of starts talking to like a vampire expert and seeing all the clues left of all these crimes, he's like, I'm dealing with vampires here. At the same time, he's also dealing with another enemy that literally has his family in his sights 24/7, can pull the trigger on him and kill him when Alex Cross is somewhere overseas at any moment's notice. Not only does Alex Cross have to worry about these stupid vampires, but he also has to worry about this guy who could potentially kill his family at any waking moment on any day.
Right.
So he is constantly on edge no matter where he is, because he's working to this one young detective woman he finds very attractive. And she's like, hey, you're gonna be okay? Oh, I'm fine. And he's trying not to act paranoid around his family, but he kind of can't help it because he knows the bad guys. I forget what he's called, but he knows the bad guys constantly watching him, and he can never
that's a feeling I never want to feel.
Yeah, like, can you imagine every waking moment of every day you wake up, he'll call you. It's like, hey, Menaki.
No.
I have your family in your sights. I could have pulled the trigger at any moment.
At one point, I'll just be like, do it then.
Yeah. Well, because like that main bad guy is kind of like toying with him. Like he has like a toy out of string for you and like hanging it in front of you, kind of thing. I can gush more about these these James Patterson books more and more, but the last series I will get to with James Patterson is the Maximum Ride series. Maximum Ride is a whole series of books. I did find out I have all the books.
You all of them except the one that was at Walmart?
Yes. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly.
I'm pretty sure it's not there anymore.
Probably not, but I can just get it off Amazon. But
right.
So for those of you who don't know what Maximum Ride...
Listen, if anybody that works at Chautauqua County is hearing this, can we get a bookstore back in here? Please.
There is one in Lakewood.
Minus that one.
Yeah, we'll have to go to that one of these days.
I need money for that first.
Yeah. But for those of you who don't know what Maximum...
Because I will buy that store.
For those of you who don't know what Maximum Ride is, it's these genetically enhanced kids that have wings. And they were like experimented on in this lab. And they all have their own special kind of powers. Max, which is the leader, she is one of the stronger ones. And she always has to make sure the flock's all together. She always counts their heads to make sure everybody's together. And she's kind of like a mother in a way with some of the kids. And then Angel being the youngest one, she literally treats her like her daughter. Fang is about her age. He's kind of like the edgy, quiet one at first. And then Iggy is the tall, skinny, blind one, which the only time he could see is if there's snow on the ground. That's the only time he's not blind. And then there was two other ones. I think they were twins, if I remember correctly. I don't remember what their names were. But anyways, they go through all these different adventures, through all these books. And it's the kind of book series that it's not just for kids. It's kind of for all ages. You can read it as an adult. You can read it as a young teen. You can read it as a kid. And the stories are just fantastic. Like the first book I read, I'm showing Menaki how big the book was. Woo. I read that in ISS. I read that entire book in one sitting.
There you go.
Like the first book, read it in one sitting. Fantastic. I had to go get the other ones in our school library. I highly recommend that series. If you want a book you can just sink your teeth into.
I wonder if there's a box set.
There might be, but there is a
all
box
of
set for comics. They did have a
Ooh.
comic. They have a comic series out. I got like the first like 2 or 3 books, so they had like 4 or 5 of them.
You know what series I want to get as a box set? 'Cause I know it exists. You remember a series of unfortunate events?
Mm-hmm.
They have that whole thing as a box set.
That's cool.
I know loosely what happens, but the only one I've ever fully read was the second book. Because it was, they end up with this guy who has like a reptile room, like a giant snake and all that in it. The guy they live with, sweetest guy ever. I'm not going to explain the whole thing of a series of unfortunate events. If you haven't figured it out by this point, go look it up. But, the guy gets murdered, made it look like it was the snake that was the problem. But the snake got along with the baby of the group because the baby bit the snake on the tail and tamed it, pretty much. Curbed the crap out of that reptile. But it made it look like the snake bit the man and killed him because it turns out snake's poisonous probably. No, it was Count Olaf being a dick. Because he's in disguise again. He's being a dick. Yeah, I kind of want to, because I know we had to have the show with Neil Patrick Harris playing Count Olaf. And then you got the movie with Jim Carrey playing Count Olaf. But I want to read the books because reading books is fun.
Mm-hmm. So I gush about James Patterson, so you can go next.
I'm going to continue to gush about James Patterson because one of the top ones on my list was Zoo.
Mm-hmm.
I started that book. I read maybe the first, chapter and a half, so maybe 15 pages out of the, it's probably a 300, 400-page book. And I set it down because I'm sitting in front of my computer. I got distracted by technology and electronics rather than paper and ink.
Yeah.
It happens this day and age, even to those of you who are avid readers like me. But then I don't know what it was next day. I picked that book up. Still sitting in my computer chair, kind of like how you are now, but I did not put that book down until I finished it.
Yep.
So the premise is Zoo, which they kind of loosely kept in the TV show. There's a string of something. I think it's a pheromone in the book. Because in the show, it's something completely different. But it's making animals smarter to the point of coordinated attacks. Wolves are working with bears. Bees are working together. This, that, and the other. They pretty much rule the world and turn it into a post-apocalyptic world because they're targeting the human race. And they don't know why. And that's what his name is. I couldn't think of the name of the main dude for a second. But the main guy is Dr. Jackson Oz. He figures it out because down in the sewers, mind you, this isn't the book, mind you. Way back down, they find out in the sewers, there's just a strong scent of something. And they can't figure out what it is. Keep following it down the sewers and down, down, down. Mind you, right now this is centralized in New York City. All the rats are screwing. And it's releasing enough of this pheromone, whatever it is, I'm pretty sure, to where it's just everywhere. And it's hitting the entire all animals. Like somehow it's gone all over, but like the main source. I don't know if it went worldwide. Because I know it did in the show. I'm comparing the show to the book now. But I don't remember if it went worldwide or if it was just centralized New York City at that point. But essentially all the rats were screwing. But I don't know if it was because of the pheromone or if it was their fault. I just remember that part. And also a part so Jackson has his chimp, right? I think he named it Attila. That's probably where I got the name for my Infernape. Because that's what I name him. They thought he was immune to whatever it was because he stayed chill. He wasn't bad nothing. And then Jackson leaves with his wife to go take care of something else. I think it's probably like a rhino or whatever. Comes back, and his apartment's in shambles. Attila's gone.
Oh, shit.
And the wife's, it's either the best friend or the maid or whatever, is in the apartment, dead. Attila ripped her face off.
I remember you saying that.
He didn't bite it. He ripped her face off.
Ugh.
And then Attila ended up becoming the leader of the pack of animals. I don't remember if it was just other chimps or chimps and gorillas, kind of like Planet of the Apes, or if it was just...
I can't even imagine just seeing a human body's face, the flesh just ripped off of somebody's face.
Yeah, you ever see the show My Dangerous Pet?
No.
It's something like that. So it's pretty much these people who end up keeping, like, they've got a tiger for a pet or a chimp or what have you. And turns out this animal is still a wild animal, and you're going to get your face ripped off.
Mm-hmm.
Woman literally calls for her friend, neighbor, sister, one of the two, while the chimp is attacking its owner. And she watched it pretty much almost ripped half this woman's face off. I'm like, no. I mean, if y'all have ever seen that photo of a hairless chimp and you just see the muscles in that thing, chimps are not to be messed with or monkeyed with, literally. Mm-hmm. Or I don't know anybody who would mess with a gorilla, but that video of that gorilla, the dudes are just like in the jungle.
I know what you're talking about.
And Silverback just comes up and just grabs this dude by the foot and just casually drags him without breaking stride for like 20 feet. And then let's go. That's that gorilla going, guess what? I can throw you across this jungle if I want to. Don't screw with me.
Dude.
They're all just like dead silent after that going, what just happened?
Off the subject of books really quick, I saw a video of these gorillas. There was one of the main leader of the pack. This gorilla had a monkey by his ankle, and he literally, and this monkey was like less than half the size of him. He literally.
Now, was it a young gorilla or was it literally a monkey?
Huh?
Was it a young gorilla or was it a monkey?
It was a monkey.
Sorry, I'm thinking of something else.
So he literally kept bashing this monkey, like holding it by the foot, like a rag doll on the ground, 4, 5, 6 times, just bashing the shit out of it like it's a rag doll.
Yikes.
To where the monkey was just limp. And then he proceeded to rip it apart.
Yikes.
Breaking all the bones, snapping and everything. Luckily, they didn't show that part. But they're like, and he just chucked it on the ground, and the monkey was just like nothing. No blood, just limp and just completely dead. Don't fuck with gorillas, dude. Don't fuck with Mother Nature in general.
Yeah, like dogs, cats, one thing, they'll still turn on you no matter what it is. But like, if you're thinking of having a big old gorilla as your friend, gorillas are not your friend. But then we go from that to, have you seen, I might have to show you this. There is a male gorilla in the zoo. He's leader of the whole thing. Probably all the baby gorillas in that enclosure are from him.
Right.
So in gorilla territory or whatever, the moms will not let the fathers. Sorry, I had a burp coming. They won't let the fathers spend time with the babies because a lot of it's almost like survival of the fittest, food chain kind of thing. You're the male. You're going to threaten me and all that. It still kind of works with gorillas as it does with lions and all that. But no, there's gorilla males that just want to hang out with the babies. So this one in the enclosure, mom will just be sitting there. The baby gorilla's either on her lap or like chilling on her back while she's walking. The big gorilla, he'll grab this baby and just like hold him, cuddle up to him, and then on both legs, just run full speed, like, no, my baby, no, my baby. Just running away, almost kidnapping this baby, but it's all in good-natured fun. You can tell he's playing with it. And Mama's just mad, and she's like, yeah, screw it. And he just spends time with the baby. It's what he loves to do. He gets a smile, and he'll keep doing it. He'll grab the baby and just haul it. But it's like that funny haul, almost like you put Yakety Sax by Benny Hill in there. It's kind of like that kind of running with this gorilla. I got to show you the video. Like, it's like 12:30 in the morning last night. I'm dying laughing at this video because this gorilla is the funniest thing I've seen in a long time.
That's awesome.
But then you also turn around and that thing could probably break you in one hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't monkey with Mother Nature.
Yeah.
You can have bonds with the animals all you want, but leave them there.
Yeah.
Monkey tangent. Let me pop my list here because
I know I had to keep mine.
I went through Zoo, which I might have to scoop that book again and just reread it.
You don't have it anymore?
Where did all my books go?
Oh,
yeah. This was before that, long before that. So speaking of one like Maximum Ride, actually, technically I got 3 like this, but it depends on your genre wants, I guess. But I'm just gonna do this one because this is the most recent one I've read, like a series completed. Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Turns out the kid's son of Poseidon, so goes to Camp Half-Blood for half humans, half gods. Learn to train to be a hero, and potentially join his dad and all that, and Olympus and all that. But he met the Fates, which are the 3 crones from Hercules. He's met them. He's been face to face with Hades, Cerberus, Cyclops. Turns out his half brother is a Cyclops. His friends with a satyr. His girlfriend is a daughter of Athena. His uncle is Zeus, but he takes Zeus off because they think that he stole the last thunderbolt that Zeus had. Turns out he didn't. Turns out it was Hades. Has gone face to face with Kronos, which is the leader of the Titans. Because the Titans and the gods don't like each other, and Kronos was put into 1,000,000 pieces and thrown into the deepest pits of the underworld named Tartarus. And he's planning to come back. So, it turns out one of the people that Percy thought was one of his friends is a god of Hermes, I believe, or the son of Hermes. But turns out the dude's a righteous prick. And turns out he's planning to revive Kronos. But they also met Atlas and fought Atlas, who's the man holding the sky up from crushing the world. Put him right back in his spot. Percy, for a time being, held the sky up. He got stuck there for a time being.
Damn.
And then they put Atlas back on it. They've met Medusa through their adventures, just looking through different stuff, just trying to solve different things to become heroes and all that.
I just saw something with Medusa. A lot of times when they shows her with the cleavage or her boobs out or whatever.
Yep.
So it's like, don't look at her eyes, just look at her boobs. And she's like, hey, my eyes are up here. No.
No. Just no. Just don't look at her in your eyes. But it's kind of sad because because a lot of them have gone into the modern world in a way. Like Medusa, Ares, the god of the war. Who, fun fact, because they did the movie was hot garbage, by the way. And now they have the live action series on Disney Plus. Ares, the god of war, is played by the rated R superstar Adam Copeland, and he did a phenomenal job as it.
That's cool.
But
I think I remember you mentioning that.
I've seen bits and clips where I'm like, this looks really, really good. But then it's split off into I think there's one where it's Percy starts it. This is after and the Olympians, but this is now going into Egyptian stuff or more ancient Greece, maybe Norse. I got to talk to Tall and Skinny about that one. I don't remember what it is. But it starts with Percy, but then they're going off to college. So then it goes to another set, which I think is Norse, and then going back to Percy for ancient Egypt gods and stuff. So Rick Riordan is still doing Percy Jackson books.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Egyptian stuff.
It might be that I have to re-look into it because there's a couple. I think it's either at Target now or Walmart or both. I was going to eyeball them and read them, but then Tall Skinny's like, no, you got to do this. I'm like, okay, which ones are these ones? Because I want them now.
So how many books are there for that series?
For the Olympians, it's 5, and I have all 5. So if you want to read them, just let me know. I'll give you the whole box set. There. It's one of those ones you can tell it's for preteens / teens / little bit towards kids. If you got the kids that are I don't know, I shouldn't say kids, maybe 9 years old, 10 maybe, before you hit the preteen years and then teenage years.
Right.
But it's the stories, they grip you. They get you because I I'll start my topic with him going all modern because Medusa ended up pretty much running like a lawn ornament statue store out of like a small little shop. And they're all like out front, but they all look crazy realistic. I wonder why. The satyr, his name is Grover. He's been Percy's best friend for years. Turns out all the satyrs are supposed to watch over a certain hero. So he's been the satyr the whole time, is watching over Percy this entire time, just till he turns of age. Because when you turn 13 or close to it, I don't know if it's just in prophecy or if it because of him or if it's just like in general. You either become a hero or you become the one that pretty much destroys the world. So everybody's watching Percy. His mother knows about everything. He had no clue that she knew. She knew it all. They're walking in because they ended up in front of Medusa's shop. So they're just going to walk in for the night, see if they can get a bite to eat or something. And Grover finds this satyr statue. He's like, this kind of looks a whole lot like my uncle so-and-so. And I'm sitting there going, oh, Grover. Because turns out it was his uncle. But then it also turns out, even when you kill Medusa, the stuff doesn't come back. It stayed stone, as far as I know.
Oh, shit.
So he never got his uncle back.
Damn.
I'm like, this is book 1, like chapter 6, and I'm already, ouch.
Right in the feels.
Yeah.
Hey, that's when you know it's a good book, though.
Yeah. And it is like opening like chapter 1 or 2 that he fights what's called a Fury, which is like, if Cerberus is the hammer to Hades' forces, they're like the generals. There's 3 of them, mind you. And one of them she's either a librarian or one of the teachers who just outright hated Percy. It's because she knew who he was. And she wanted to stop him. So they're on a museum trip, right? His teacher, so she gets him alone, and then she turns into her true form, which is pretty much a winged demon woman. Think gargoyle, but like a woman. He's trying to fight her, but Percy don't know what he's doing. He's 12 years old. He don't know what he's doing. Teacher shows up. Mind you, so when you're mortal, you do not see this kind of supernatural stuff. It's almost like a haze going over you. You just don't see it, no matter what it is. Because there's it's the arch, I think, in St. Louis, that real famous arch thing. They fought a chimera there. Percy ended up going in the water from the top of that arch because of this chimera. Nobody had a clue it was a chimera. Nobody saw it. It was just a haze and suddenly stuff's blown up. It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
But he couldn't understand why his other teacher, his main teacher, his wheelchair-bound true teacher could see it. Threw him a pen. Turned out the pen was a sword. You uncap it, turns into a bronze sword, and bronze is one of the only things that can kill stuff like a Fury. Sent her back to the underworld and capped the pen back. Turns out that pen was his sword. But also turns out his one teacher, his favorite one, the wheelchair-bound one, is a centaur named Chiron, who is a famous trainer of heroes and the son of Kronos.
Oh, shit.
But he did not side with his father. So he's on the side of the gods and the Olympians. Great series. Love it.
That does sound really cool.
If you want to read it, I got it. Great stuff.
Oh,
great stuff.
Lately, like I said, I've been listening to audiobooks more.
They're probably there, too.
I find myself, if I'm tired and I start reading, I'll fall asleep, and I'm like, crap, what did I stop on?
Yep.
So I have to reread the chapter. So
that's why I want to find audiobooks that are just like boom, boom, boom. But then my thing with me is, I've been like this my whole life, and you know it just from me not looking things up online for video games, and rather having the book in my hand. There's nothing like just leafing through a book and finding it.
Mm-hmm.
Or just like having a book in your hand.
No, I agree with
and
that.
And just reading it.
Like, instead of... I do like listening to audiobooks, but I still want the physical book.
Yeah. That's why, like...
For a collection.
A lot of people are like, why don't you do audiobooks? Why don't you do ebooks? Because I like the feel of paper.
Yeah.
Nobody reads a book anymore. It's all through technology.
Right.
Newsflash, I walk and read on my way to work. Turns out I can walk in a straighter line with a book in my hand up my nose than I can while walking, looking straight ahead of me.
That's fine.
Found that out. But my bosses are worried. I'm like, I don't read it when I'm literally crossing the street. I ain't that dumb. Like, I understand their worry. But, like, trust me, I'm fully into where I'm at. In both, I promise you, I'm fully here. But I was coming up to work, and I stopped just at the corner. I'll just stop at the corner, take a second, finish the page off or whatever. And this lady's walking her dog, and I don't see she's there because she's in right where the book is in my head. And she goes, "Is that a good book?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." It's like, good. It's good to see people reading again. I'm like, "You're right. You're right." There's nothing like it. But no, when it gets warmer out, I powered through the prologue to Game of Thrones, which is about 1,100 pages. I powered through The Stand for Stephen King, which I do not recommend anybody reading. That's one book I will not recommend unless you're into that. Because it's just 900 to 1,100 pages to build up to like 100 pages of nothing. A fire just wipes out the entirety of humanity, but it's not like a zombie apocalypse. There's just nobody there. And like the last 2% of humanity is left alive. One's on the west side, one's on the east side. One's led by a guy named Commander Flag. He pretty much is the devil incarnate. He's a dick. The other one's run by Mother Abigail. They're bound to collide somewhere because it's like God or whatever is bringing them all in this one spot. So they're going to collide. Dude sets off a nuke and that was it. And then he's gone. And it's weird. But it just wasn't, the build-up was not worth the payoff.
Yeah.
That's a part of my gripe with some of Stephen King's books. Like, you get the build-up. And then the finish is like half a page of a 500-page book. And I'm like, what did I just read?
That's dumb.
It's not all of them, mind you, because I did the same thing with The Outsider. That was just weird. I won't get into the views of Outsider. But it was not for me. But I started to stay and I was going to finish it. It felt weird not finishing a book when I started, even if I have to power through it because it's boring. Which is what I did with Swiss Family Robinson. Because I got that whole, like, the different colored books of the famous, like, not fairy tales, like, old school stories. And that was when I had no internet for, like, 3 months.
Yeah.
So I read Swiss Family Robinson. There's one conflict in that whole book. And it's because there was a boar in the tall grass, and they went to go kill it. And then the rest of it was a storm or them, like, finding a fruit tree or building their house. I'm like, this is dumb. But again, it's one of those, I have to finish it because I started it, and I don't like leaving the book half finished. I'll do that with a game all I want. If I don't like the game, I don't care. But with the book, I'm like, I got to finish it. Where was I going with that? I don't remember. But when it gets warm out, because I'll read on my way to work and my way home from work when it's light outside. I powered through the prologue of Game of Thrones. I powered through like the first like 2 books of Game of Thrones. I powered through the entirety of Percy Jackson. A couple of Star Wars, kind of like one-off spin-off books from the story. Which one of them gave me the identity of Rey's parents from Star Wars. Dad's a clone. Mama is a pilot. And they are trying to escape the Emperor. Because he is a clone of the Emperor. And they had the baby. And there's a bounty hunter now after the baby. Which is Rey. Because she might be another key to the Force. To what they know or somebody knows. I don't remember. Turns out Luke and Lando Calrissian are after her as well. It's kind of great. Mind you, this is like after the first 6 movies. And then the other one, if you're familiar with Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, this is after Fallen Order, but before Survivor. So it's before the team split. Spoilers!
A little late for that.
So it started off kind of cool. It started off as like a Cal Kestis mission kind of deal. Still traveling with the crew and all that. But then it turned into the Night Sister chick falling in love with a female masquerading stormtrooper who wants out of the Empire. And I'm sorry, unless you're dead, there's no out of the Empire. But then they end up having a relationship kind of thing for a while. And then that's kind of where the story focused on, more on that and less on the adventures of Cal and all them, while still focusing on the adventure. but then more on their aspect of it and not Cal. I'm sitting there going, I don't care. Like, I don't care. There's been few times where I just want to get rid of a book because I didn't like it. That was one of the ones I want to get rid of because I didn't like it. So we have this like little buy one, take one, leave one, borrow one, all that stuff, little cabinet thing. I threw a couple of them in there. That was one of them. Just because that was just bad. I looked forward to it. It was a bad book. But then I found one. It was a Star Wars like Ronin Samurai book. That was kind of cool. That one got rid of because the story didn't stick with me.
I remember you were mentioning that one.
But it was good. It didn't fully stick with me, but it was good. I got one I can do real quick just because everybody and their mother's probably seen it and or read it and or heard about it.
Da, 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 da.
You're right.
Yeah.
That was the very, very first thing on my list.
Harry Potter.
The books, mind you. How do I want to put this and not go on this rant about it?
Oh, we could probably have an entire podcast on this rant. You know that.
Yeah. I don't care for her views. I don't care for who or what she has done. I'm still going to enjoy J.K. Rowling's work in terms of Harry Potter. Right. And there's nothing you can say or do that's going to stop me.
Yeah. You can separate the author from the person.
Yep.
Just like pro wrestlers.
Yep.
You know, if you may not agree with what a wrestler did, Chris Benoit, for example. Chris Benoit, for example.
I was about to say, am I looking at him right now?
Yeah. But you got to respect what, they did in the ring.
That's me with my thoughts on when we did the rapid fire draft, the first one I pulled. It was Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
I don't support any of the things Hogan has said or done, but that was also not Hulk Hogan. That was Terry Bollea.
Really quick, did you see with Hulk Hogan, his ex-wife?
She looks like trash.
She does look like trash.
She looks horrible, but yes, I did see that.
Did you see that video?
And then Brooke completely shut her down.
Yeah.
Brooke didn't have to say a word. Brooke just posed to prove that she was wrong. Brooke shut the whole thing down.
Yeah.
But yeah, yes, I did see that. As I said, like, I don't support any of the things that Terry Bollea said, did in the past, now.
Yeah.
Never have, never will. But I would be a fool to not acknowledge Hulkamania. That's why I'm not mad that I pulled Hulk Hogan. Because I pulled Hulk Hogan.
Right.
I didn't pull Terry Bollea. It's kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have been mad if I pulled Brock Lesnar. Despite the fact that Brock Lesnar broke the streak. And I'm still salty about that. But it's just because it's Brock Lesnar. But yeah, like, you cannot tell me anything that will make me not enjoy Harry Potter as a thing. Because you think way back when, like early 2000s, that stuff was everywhere. You got the Bertie Bott's beans, which you probably still got. You can still get the chocolate frogs. You got the fake ones, which I have one from Orlando. The books were everywhere. It wasn't just for kids either. I saw a grown woman in like an advertisement when we used to get the like the little magazine thing that you got from your school, like current events kind of thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I used to get that, and there's advertisers for, I think it's the 4th or 5th Harry Potter book at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Grown woman dressed up as Professor McGonagall, go grab one of them books.
Yeah.
I got no problem with that.
Yeah. I remember when the first Harry Potter movie came out, I originally wanted, I'm just saying this for the podcast.
Yeah.
I remember I wanted to dress up as Dig Dug from the video game. And once I realized literally every single boy in my grade is dressing up as Harry Potter, I was like, I want to dress up as Harry Potter.
I did.
I look like a fat squirrel, chubby cheek Harry Potter with giant glasses.
You would have been Neville at that point.
Yeah.
As a chunkster. It's funny. He went from that, because you know how he looked. He was not the best.
Oh, yeah. He actually.
And then, I don't know what, 5 years later, 4, he does that, like, underwear photo shoot that's, like, everywhere. And even J.K. Rowling's like, oh, my God. And he's like, sorry.
Just like
sorry.
Urkel.
Yeah.
He looked like that, and then once he got older, it's like, damn.
Yep. But yeah, Harry Potter, like, it's...
I mean, the Harry Potter books in the series is a classic.
It's...
Whether you don't, you You don't, whether you agree with J.K. Rowling or not.
Yeah, like
It's
that's her. But then you look at the books. People are like, don't read the books anymore. Don't do this anymore. Don't tell me what to do.
yeah.
If I want to sit there and reread the entire Harry Potter again, I will.
Yeah. You know, just because you're a fucking miserable cunt doesn't mean you have to make
like-
everybody else miserable.
Like, let me enjoy my 11-year-old wizard that I grew up with.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of true, though. We essentially grew up with the main three characters.
That's how it. Even now, for at least Emma, she's still in stuff.
Yeah.
She ends up going from Hermione Granger to playing Belle in the Beauty and the Beast live action.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And I can't say certain things on here about Emma Watson.
MayesBoy thinks she's very, 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 very pretty.
Yes.
We'll just leave it at that. And then Rupert Grint, the guy who played Ron, man bought an ice cream truck.
I saw that.
He's just driving around with it.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
You want to know something wild, though? Daniel Radcliffe is a father.
Really?
He had a baby boy.
That's awesome.
I think it was a boy. I know he had a baby with. He's dating like I think she's a model. She's like a head taller than he is. It's hilarious. Like, it's adorable. It's so funny.
Yeah.
But like, it was everywhere. But we lost some fine folk during the filming of the movies and all that.
I know.
But, you can't deny it. Like, I'm not, as I said, I'm not tuning Harry Potter out because of my thoughts on J.K. Rowling. I'll enjoy her work all I want.
Yep.
Which when I'm done with Game of Thrones, that's probably going to be the next read. I'm going to reread Harry Potter. You can't stop me.
Ain't no stopping me now.
I got one dealing with that.
Who's stopping? Who's stopping?
Fun fact, that was like one of the first purchases I wanted when I wanted to get my books back, was find a box set of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And then find the money and then pull the trigger. And I did. And I have them. And I'm happy.
Hey, it's good to have them just in case.
Mm-hmm. I could do another one just because I enjoyed them when they finally showed up.
All right, I'll give you one more.
Back when Aragon was the big thing, it was decently done everywhere. It wasn't everywhere like a Harry Potter thing, but the movie was a thing. They did a video game tie-in with it. He's done a coloring book. Apparently, they're in talks of either doing another movie or a live-action series for it, which I'm for. But Aragon and the Inheritance cycle as a whole is pretty much a 15-year-old farm boy ended up becoming the very first in about a century Dragon Rider. All because an elf princess missed her target of magic with teleporting a dragon egg and ended up going to him. And then he ended up
Big dummy.
saving the world from the tyrannical king who, remember your T-Rex in Ark that you almost killed?
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's named after, was the tyrannical king, who had a dragon that pretty much took up the entire back wall of his castle. The way they killed the king was kind of weird, because he ended up learning magic throughout his time and adventures. And he learned how to break into people's minds and just finding that tug of magical energy that's tied to their emotions. They pretty much made him feel bad. Because this king does not feel bad for nothing. He'll take over entire cities.
Swiper, no swiping. Oh, man.
No, they made him go mad with just feeling bad for himself. He pretty much blew up. It's kind of wild.
All sad and depressed. Like
all the while, the 3 other remaining dragons were holding his dragon down. He ends up, by the end of it, going off to this island where he finds what they call essentially dragon hearts, which is a dragon, when they die, they pretty much become a living crystal where their mind and essence is in this crystal. And there's possibly a way through very powerful magic or to fuse them with a dragon egg to bring that dragon back. And so he's pretty much not necessarily scouring the world, but he's there training and waiting for the next generation of dragon riders. Because the dragons had a deal with the elves, because they went to war for centuries. They finally made this deal, and they ended up becoming Dragon Riders. And then the 13 Forsworn decided, screw this. We are stronger than everybody, and decided they're going to try to take over the world. And the Tyrannical King was one of them, and he's the only one left. But he got ticked off because he lost his dragon in the mountains, and they wouldn't give him a new one. Stuff happened. It's kind of great. All this from a guy, he published Eragon when he himself was 15 years old.
It's pretty impressive.
And became a best-selling author. And then he made another one. This is the sequel to the entire inheritance cycle, which is Murtagh, which technically is Eragon's half-brother. This is him afterwards because he served with the king. He was pretty much the king's hammer in the war at the Burning Plains. He killed Eragon's teacher and his dragon. And now he's trying to go through the world and make amends for the stuff he's done. Also, his father threw his sword at him. Gave him a real nasty scar on his back. But now he's wielding that very sword that gave him the scar. Because a lot of times for the dragon rider and his sword, it is the color of the dragon. But for Eragon, for a while, he was wielding that very sword. His dragon is blue. His dragon's name is Saphira. She's a female. The sword is blood red. So automatically there's something off, but there's some kind of key points with it. But then the sword ends up... A lot of swords have different names. Because you just name the sword, you got its power right there. So the sword's name was Zarok. I don't remember what it means. But then it ended up going back to the guy, Murtagh. Because it was his father's real sword. Went back to him. So Eragon's swordless. But he had to figure out when he went to the elves' forest and got himself pretty much a stone that gives him a new sword that he can get forged out. And he made one that's literally rippling sapphire. And he named it after the very first spell he learned, which is a Brissinger, which was fire. So it's great. Great series.
Nice.
I highly recommend it. If you want to read that, I got all 5 of them now too anyway. Percy Jackson. I could talk about the Alice book, but I don't care enough. That's all I got.
Well, that was your last one for the moment. You're a lot more detailed with the stuff that you read compared to me.
I love it.
So, some of the other
I'm also like 4 out of the 5 books into Game of Thrones, but we don't talk about Game of Thrones. Go ahead.
Well, some of the other books that I read.
I missed. I'll get that later.
Horrible fail. One of the other books.
Listen, I think I hit it, actually. It didn't go in, but I hit it.
One of the other books I read too. A lot of times I will read autobiographies of musicians and especially wrestlers and of other wrestling companies, like the rise and fall of Extreme Championship Wrestling.
Side note, I've been wanting to say this for a while. I might want to borrow some of those. I don't know who yet, but I want to.
The ECW one is really good.
I might want to borrow some of those. Me being a wrestling, I feel like a fraud wrestling fan. I haven't read any of these.
Actually, one of the other ones I read Mick Foley's book. I read The Rock's first book.
Which book of Mick Foley? He's written 72 of them.
Whatever one our school library had.
Wait, our school had a wrestling book library? What?
I'm pretty sure because I read The Rock's book in that library. And
That's kinda wild.
I read the first 2 or 3 books that Chris Jericho had. If you want to read wrestling autobiographies, start with Chris Jericho's. Chris Jericho doesn't just do an autobiography. He puts humor into it.
As you should, honestly.
It is hilarious to read. He has like 5 books now, and I got to sit down and reread all of his books again. But his shit is so funny. In his first book, I think he said he got held at gunpoint like 3 or 4 different times. There was one scene, he was in Japan, and he tried...
That explains a lot.
Well, he tried to do... This wasn't the gunpoint thing, but he tried to do like that full mask getup they had in Japan very briefly. And like the wrestling... And he couldn't move or see in it, so he was terrible. And the wrestling promoter's like, yeah, Matt basically said like MayesBoy sucks. Lionheart, Chris Jericho's better. It's
Ain't
like,
wrong.
Yeah, no shit. Because I can actually see and move.
Like Shockmaster all over again.
Yeah. So, but
Side note, with the Shockmaster, the natural disasters are going to the Hall of Fame. Earthquake and Typhoon.
I saw that.
That's great. Well deserved.
One of
I just wish.
so
Earthquake
with
was
one
in
of the other funny moments in that book, I'm pretty sure it's the first one. He was in Japan and he was in his hotel room, and he got a knock at the door, and apparently somebody hired him or somebody just came up. It was this Japanese prostitute, and she kept like trying to offer her services to him, and he's like, I'm good. Please go away.
No.
And she kept knocking out the door. Oh, you want good time? You want good time?
Good time?
And he's like, no, can you please leave? And eventually she starts walking away. She's like, you gay boy. You gay boy. No one wants you. You gay boy. But there's stories like that in the book that you were just fucking dying laughing. It's like, I want to read more, dude. This shit's awesome.
I love it.
That's
how you gotta do. You know whose autobiography I'm waiting for? 100%? Undertaker.
Yes, that would be a very good one to
I'm
read.
waiting for it. Supposedly it's in the works, according to him.
Yeah. Some of the other books I read, musician-wise, I read Ozzy Osbourne's book, which Ozzy did so many drugs. Like later on in his life.
That's a secret.
Well, later on in life, the doctor was like, how are you still alive? Another musician I read.
And then it turns out Ozzy's a sweetheart because he'll show up on The View just randomly, play Crazy Train and surprise Sharon on their anniversary with flowers on. I'm like, she had no idea too. Somehow it just happens and Crazy Train starts mid-sentence. She's like, and then she's like, no.
Yep.
Here comes Ozzy with flowers.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, I want that kind of romance, but also I don't because look at Ozzy.
And here's the thing with Ozzy. I think a lot of the stuff out of the Osbournes was for show.
Oh,
He could not have been that out of it 24/7.
The reality TV, they make you look like a scumbag.
Yeah. And
that's why, like, when I learned that, I'm like, I'm not going to, because I used to watch Hogan Knows Best. That was the only reality show I watched, because that was when I was like, Hulk Hogan is one of the coolest people on the planet in my brain.
Exactly.
Because the show, I'm like, oh, this is all BS. They're making Hogan look, they're making Brooke look like a dumb blonde. She's not.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyways.
But because there's a lot of things that Ozzy has done in his life that he wasn't drunk for, but people thought he was. Do you know the story when he pissed on the Alamo?
No.
So in his autobiography, he described the whole story. He wasn't drunk. What Sharon did, she purposely stole all of Ozzy's clothes and didn't leave him with any clothes. She's like, now you can't go out and get drunk because now you don't have any of your clothes. So you're going to stay in the hotel room and you're going to stay sober and be good. I got to go and do something. So she goes and does it. And Ozzy's like, fuck this shit. He grabbed one of her dresses. He grabbed one of Sharon's dresses and went out and got pissed drunk. And he was so drunk, he had to stop and take a pee. So he's decided, okay, whatever, just went to the side of a random building and peed. Well, turns out it was the Alamo. And that is a federal crime. So he gets arrested. Just like with, you know about Ozzy ripping the head off a bat, right?
Yep.
So apparently he thought that was a rubber bat.
Oops.
Yeah. Because I guess for a while there, his show started to get really creepy. Like, people thought he was a devil worshiper. So they started throwing like...
I mean, at first glance, I would assume Ozzy was a devil worshiper.
Well, it's all like an act and shit.
I know that, but at first glance, I would think the same thing.
Supposedly it's all an act, but there was a point where people were throwing like dead bird carcasses on the stage and like
gross
bits and pieces of animals and shit. And one of them threw a bat. So he assumed, oh, it's a rubber bat. So he bit the head off and the head like twitched in his mouth.
Yikes.
And he freaked out and realized it was real. And he had to get like stitches in his ass for the rabies. And then I read Dave Mustaine's autobiography, which is another heavy metal guy. He described his drug trips, which makes me never want to do drugs.
Well, I hope so.
Because he was so paranoid, it felt like bugs were crawling all over him a lot of times. Can you imagine feeling that way, just sitting there, like in a corner, like in the fetal position?
I'd rather not.
Ugh. It's like, nope, I will pass with doing drugs. Thank you.
It's bad enough when I have no clue if I'm asleep or I'm awake, and then I just do that whole, my legs in there, I'm just going to flop it down and be like, what? I've done that. I'm like, I don't even know if I'm awake right now.
Mm-hmm.
That was me during all of COVID. When I had COVID, I had no idea where I was.
Yeah.
As I've probably said this on the podcast. I know I did. I mainlined orange juice into my body. I don't remember how I got it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember ordering it. I don't remember going on my laptop. I don't remember going on my phone and ordering it. I don't remember the guy I live with coming in to get it to me. Suddenly, there's just orange juice here.
Yeah.
I remember I'll wake up. I'm in that half awake, half asleep thing. Slightly coherent at the moment. But if I go to sleep for another 5 minutes, I'll remember nothing kind of thing.
Right.
That was me Black Friday. Because the day before, I was puking on the hour, every hour for 10 hours.
I remember you saying that, yeah.
And I went in for Black Friday because I know it's all hands on deck no matter what. I don't care, which I get it. So I go in at 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't remember the walk down there. I remember getting in Tall and Skinny's truck to wait out the cold for waiting for the head honcho to get there. He got there. I remember walking across the parking lot. I remember I had talks with Tall and Skinny. I had talks with my manager. I had conversation with Grizz. I don't remember the topic of the conversations. I don't remember how I got home.
Yeah.
I don't remember if Tall and Skinny brought me home or if I walked home. Don't remember. I was that out of it. Anyways, back to That's my relation to drug trips. I get sick. I don't remember what I was doing.
Yeah.
It was kind of scary because like Black Friday is just gone from my memory this year.
Mm-hmm.
I was just gone.
So, some of the other books that I actually recommend you read.
Hold on, let me get my list. I actually started. No, I didn't do it for. I did it for music. Let me get one going for books. Hold on, because I got plenty for you. This is a first. MayesBoy has a recommendation of a book for me.
Yeah.
Man, I don't want to do.
If you want to read like the wrestling autobiographies, you definitely gotta read this.
Okay, go ahead.
Wrestle Crap.
Why does that sound familiar? Isn't that yours?
Yeah. Well, it's one of the books I read.
Why does that sound familiar? Who's it from? What's it for?
I don't remember what the author is, but it's just a whole collection of horrible gimmicks in wrestling. You probably remember me reading it on the bus because I think I mentioned it to you on the bus a couple of times.
Yeah.
Dude, some of the shit in there, it's like, wow,
that sounds way
real.
familiar.
Yeah. I'm sure you probably remember me reading it.
Yeah. Or at least talking about it.
Yeah.
That's bringing up old Bosie's memory.
Well, and again, I don't read many books, so a lot of the books I read were back in like middle school, high school, mostly high school actually. Now I think.
Oh, I don't remember the first one is, but the one with the kid who fought and the dog that you got mad at me about, and then ended up being Firefight for the second book.
Yep. The first one was Why I Fight.
No, it was no. You're close, but I don't think that was it.
I thought it was Why I Fight, then Firefight.
I'm gonna look it up now.
It might be Why I Fight.
I gotta look it up now. It's gonna bother me.
So I wish I can remember what Why I Fight was about. All I remember is the main character in the book didn't swear until the end of the book.
Yep.
There was some reason why he fought. And there was a point in either the first book or the second book, Firefight, where he was going to fight his brother to the death, but his brother knew how to do pro wrestling. So he actually knew how to fight him without hurting him. And like the person running the tournament was like, wait, there's something wrong. This isn't a real fight. And I don't remember what those books were about. It's been so many years since I read them, but those are really good books too. I remember reading both of those books and finishing those pretty quickly.
Don't think that's it, actually. I have to like Wikipedia look at this thing.
What, for why I fight and firefight?
Yeah. Well, you got him upstairs. I just want to go upstairs.
Yeah, I do have them upstairs.
Do you have another one on your list? Because now it's going to bug the crap out of me. I want to figure this out on air. I'm about to go upstairs and go look.
We got the autobiography books, the wrestle crap.
Yeah, give me. Let me go upstairs.
I was gonna say there's a bunch of crap in front of there. Hopefully you can get to it.
I think they're on the end of it. All right, this is going to bother me now. We couldn't have one for Andrew. / suitcase. Now we're back. Okay.
So it was Fight Game. And Medic, I had to go look at my bookshelf. It was Fight Game, then Firefight.
Yes.
So my bad, but I did read that book called Why I Fight.
I think I remember that.
That was a separate book,
yeah.
And like I said, that was the one where the kid didn't want to swear, and then he swore at the end. So those were separate books. Book wise, I don't think there's any more I can think of. I used to read the Sonic comic books.
Do you want me to read the summary for Fight Game? Just because we got it up here now?
Yeah, might as well.
Yep, because now I remember. When rogue gypsy boy Freedom Smith runs into trouble with the law, he strikes a deal with the police. Instead of going to prison for a crime he didn't commit, he'll go undercover and underground, using his incredible strength and boxing skills to infiltrate a nefarious high-tech fight club known as the Bear Pit. His mission to save other street children from the terrible fate the pit has in store for them. Freedom thinks he can trust Java, his newfound friend, with a secret life. If only he knew that this high-spirited upper-class girl has a secret of her own. That was book 1. And in book 2, I believe, there's these special kids called the Indigo Kids. And they're getting targeted by somebody. Turns out this somebody is a guy who kind of really likes chocolate milk. But this chocolate milk ends up pretty much giving him adrenaline and fire in his veins. But then Freedom figures out a way to neutralize that and pretty much kill the crap out of this guy.
Jeez.
This dude's like a creep. That was old school stuff. Like MayesBoy and I were reading the book at the same time, the first one. I ticked him off with a part because I gave him a spoiler, and it turns out I was just talking out my butt. It was about the dog, and he thought I told him the dog died, and turns out the dog didn't die, but he chased me down the street because I read it further ahead than he did.
I'm going to have to sit down and reread those books, too.
Honestly, me too.
Because remember those books being good.
They were great. That's also A.L. School Bosie's memory, because we read that on the way up to Bosie's.
Yep.
He guys goes, why are you reading the same book? Well, that's how we do.
I read a bunch of other Alex Cross books back in the day. I don't remember anything about the stories, though. Which, going back to Alex Cross with James Patterson, the problem with a lot of James Patterson books, the majority of his books, besides like Max and Ryan, obviously, are all like murder mysteries.
And they turn out to be the exact same.
Yeah, so you really got to like pick and choose what books you can read because they could all be the same kind of thing. Although, okay, here's another James Patterson book.
Isn't there one he's got? It's like the same woman. It was like a different murder mystery. He's at like book 22 right now.
Yes, I think that's Women's Murders Club.
Is it the exact same character the whole time?
I'm pretty sure. I've never read the books, but I've seen
him. I'm like, this literally looks like the exact. And
yeah.
I'll look. It's like, how high is it now? 22.
Yeah. So one of the other books I remember reading, James Patterson does a lot of side stories, a lot of side characters. There was one I just read called Lifeguard, and there was this young guy.
You finished that?
Huh?
You finished that?
Yes.
That's cool.
That's a very, very good book. Well, I remember reading it back in the day, and I didn't remember anything about it, so I wanted to reread it. So it's about this guy who works at this like beach resort, and he works as like a pool boy for this rich dude. He says, you can have a room above, you can have a room in like one of my penthouses as long as you do your job. So him and his friends, so the whole story starts out with him and his friends, they're going to do this big art theft heist.
Mm-hmm.
And when they steal this art and sell this art to this buyer who they're talking to, they're going to make a lot of money, and they can just go. And his friend's like, dude, we can do whatever we want. Once we get the money for this art, we're golden. So they set everything up, get everything going. And the main character that you read, I forget his name now. There's a certain thing he has to do. He has to go in, do something, and then get out before anybody realizes what happens. Problem is, so he had to do his plan, and then his friends did the other part of the plan to make the whole thing go. Problem is, the art that they were supposed to steal isn't there. Someone got to him ahead of time. So now they're like, oh shit, what do we do? We have sirens going off. We have police cars about to get us. What the hell do we do? So it's like the main group of friends tell the main character, just go, get out of there. We'll meet up at the safe house. Turns out he gets to the safe house, but his friends are dead. He finds out on the news that all of his friends are dead, and they thought they were all part of this art scheme. And the one friend that's missing is the main character that you read as. So now he's like, well, shit, I'm now running by fugitive. I got to get out of here. So he leaves town. And at the beginning of the book, there's this girl that he meets that he wants to meet again. So, and they're also like, well, wait a minute. This girl that he met at the beginning of the book, turns out she dies.
Yikes.
Now they are assuming he was supposedly the last person in the room with her. So now they think he killed her.
Ooh.
So now he's getting in trouble for that. And he's like, I didn't do that. He didn't kill anybody. He didn't steal any art.
Yeah.
So he's basically on the run this whole time. Eventually this detective girl gets in touch with him and she's like, I'm going to take you into custody. It's like, look, I don't want to do this, but I have to take you as my hostage. And she's like, you've got to be kidding me. He has no idea how to use a gun. He's like threatening her with a gun and the safety's on, and he doesn't know it. She's like, this babbling idiot is trying to take me in as a prisoner. But for some reason, she kind of believes his story that he's innocent and not not killing this woman. So she's like, okay, I'll take you as my prisoner. But once we do all this shit, I'm taking you in and you're going to jail. So this whole story goes on, and it's a really good story. He's constantly on the run. He's constantly having these people chase him. These people are screwing him over. At the end, it turns out that, spoilers for those of you who read the book, it turns out the old guy that hired him to be his pool boy, he took the art, and he has all the art in his own personal hidden art gallery under his house. It's like this a long elevator that he goes down into, and he just has all this art displayed in this huge circular room. And he's like, this is where all the art went. And
surprise.
He said, look, I'm going to do something for you, kid, to where you have to forget about what you saw. Basically, I'm going to give you this key to this penthouse that I have. Now, I don't think it was a penthouse. It was like a beachside mansion. He said, you're going to have a beachside mansion. I'm going to deposit so many millions of dollars into your account until I die. And you can go live free, basically. You can go do whatever you want. And he does it. And he travels to the house, and everything is real. He has a note saying from the old guy, hey, here's the account number. You can access all the money. And him and the detective girl, they kind of start liking each other after a while for being together for so much. So he's like, hey, why don't you meet me at this house so we can continue, talking and stuff, quote unquote. So
brown chicken, brown cow.
Yeah, exactly. But that was a really good book. Really, it was a really twist ending. It's like, whoa, I didn't expect that. Very good book. But James Patterson has a lot of side stories you can read and main stories with Alex Cross, The Maxim Ride, and there's another what's his name? There's another detective series that he has. I forget what it's called, but that's a good movie too. He made Alex Cross.
Is it movie. Michael Bennett?
Yes, the Michael Bennett series.
How many Detective Michael Bennett books are there?
I've never read any of them.
17.
I've never read any of them, but it might be good. I don't know.
As he faces a devastating personal loss, Detective Michael Bennett is about to take on the most sinister challenge of his career, a kidnapping crisis that could destroy the most powerful people in America. That sounds wild.
Dude.
I'm with it.
Dude, that's what James Patterson does, though. You read the back of the book and does a description, and it has those kind of descriptions like, dude, this sounds awesome.
That was you were there when I bought The Stand. Because the first part of it, there's a virus that wiped out 98% of America.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, sold. Because I'm thinking it's a zombie book.
Yeah.
No, these people just stay dead.
Dude, that's the thing with James Patterson. He has those descriptions.
But then The Stand is just trash. I don't recommend this. I'm going to write that down in my list. Hold up. I made one just for book recommendations.
What, Lifeguard?
No, well, that's on there. I'm doing a Michael Bennett series. Because that sounds wild.
Yeah. He just has those descriptions that fucking catch you. It's like, I have to read the series now. Oh, my gosh. So there was another book. I don't remember what it's called now. If you think the Michael Bennett series sounds wild. So this one, again, I forget what the book is called. You play. You did
it again.
The main character that you read as is a detective, this agent woman, and she's trying to figure out. The whole story goes, this little girl got pregnant without having sex.
What?
So they think that this is like the second coming of Christ. So this whole time she's trying to figure out how this girl had sex, how this all happened. And this little girl is having all these dreams about these demons having sex with her and these demons haunting her dreams. And she's just having these horrible, terrible nightmares. And I'll just say the ending of the story because I kind of want to read this book again, honestly. Find
out what it's called first.
Well, what ends up happening is the little girl doesn't give birth to Christ. She gives birth to the Antichrist. She actually gives birth to like a demon baby. And it turns out the detective woman gives birth to an angelic baby. So I don't think it was Christ. I think it was just like just a normal baby, but there was just like that twist at the end because the whole time you think it's got to be Christ coming out of her, but it ends up being a freaking demon. And it's like, it was weird, but it was kind of an interesting book to read. Do we have any other books you want to talk about, Menaki? You can think of off the top of your head.
I know I used to read a lot as a teenager / preteen / little kid. I don't remember half of them. No, there's one I remember. It's actually called Dragon Rider. So brownies are kind of like, I think, really, really, really hairy humans. And this kid, and so the brownies are with the silver dragons. And there's one named Fire Drake, but they have a problem. There's a gold dragon named Nettlebrand who's back, and he's trying to, like, kill off everything. So it's pretty much one of those, like, teenager bonds with the dragon, rides the dragon, finds out there's another silver dragon out, female one. Brownie helps. They take out the gold dragon, who ends up being a toad inside, almost like a robot thing. It's weird. They pretty much torched him with fire, and he melted down into just because he's so big he cannot fly. He's got no wings. He's just so big and heavy. But it turns out he's a toad in the inside. That's all I remember pretty much. But it was interesting. I think it's called Dragon Rider.
Like I said, I read the Sonic comic books. That was pretty entertaining there for a while.
I have the entirety of H.P. Lovecraft's works. I have yet to crack it open though.
Yeah.
That's on my list. I've got the first book in a series I want to get into, which is like the what ifs of Disney movies. Like, what if Jafar got the lamp at the beginning and succeeded with everything?
Jeez.
There's some like, what if Hades won?
Off the subject of books, what if Disney actually did that for their actual movies?
Yeah, like how Marvel does the what ifs.
Yeah.
What if Disney? Yeah.
What if Disney did that?
That's what I want to know, because there's some where like
maybe Disney would actually make good movies and people would actually go and fucking see them.
Yeah.
Off this, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go off the subject of books really quick before we end the podcast.
So the whole topic broader is probably going to be a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
But we'll just do this now because it's fresh in the news right now.
Yeah, so I'm sure all the people out there know that
Sorry, I can't keep a straight face. This is funny.
The new live action Snow White came out recently. Now, what's sad is that A, nobody's watching it. B, it bombed at the box office. I can't talk tonight. And C, it has a lower score than Dragon Ball Evolution, the live action Dragon Ball movie.
A middle school or elementary school, like one of those singing programs we used to do that they're hot garbage, scored higher than this movie.
Yeah. And with the fact that they completely screwed up the Snow White story, the lead actress that was in the movie,
Rachel Zegler, that is who her.
Yeah, I couldn't remember her name there for a bit.
Known in.
Like, what else has she been in?
I'm looking that up right now. Known for West Side Story 2021. She played Maria, which is the lead female. She was in The Hunger Games, the latest one. Apparently, she was in Shazam! Fury of the Gods, but I don't remember her being in it.
I don't remember either.
Snow White, obviously, that scored a 1.5 in the IMDb.
Oof, ouch. Anyways, now she can't keep her fucking mouth shut. She keeps putting a foot in her mouth.
Has she really only been in like 3 movies?
Apparently.
She's been in like 6. It's Snow White. There's a movie called Spellbound. It's like animated one from 2024. Y2K, The Hunger Games, Shazam, and West Side Story. Is that really it?
Apparently.
Well, that's where her credit came from. Stinking Hunger Games.
Yeah. But
probably Shazam, and though Shazam was hot garbage.
Unfortunately, with her talking crap.
Yeah, it was literally just those 6 movies. That's kind of wild.
Talks about feminism, and if you like the original Snow White, apparently you're against all that. And
I like the original Snow White. How about that?
Yeah, she talked crap about the original Snow White movie. She talked about the people who like the Snow White movie. Oh, it was in the 30s. It's outdated and blah, blah, blah. And she just keeps... Essentially, she keeps digging herself into a hole she can't get out of. She keeps talking shit. She keeps putting herself out there on the news to where all these... you see all these videos online covering all this shit. And it's to the point, it got to a point where Disney was like, yeah, we're going to pull the plug on all of this public shit that you were supposed to be part of, like getting interviewed on these talk shows and things like that.
Her fame just went down the toilet.
Yeah, she literally just threw everything that she had given to her on a silver platter down the toilet because she can't shut the fuck up.
She went from fame to infamy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry your movie was trash. Maybe act better.
Yeah. And it just boggles my mind that you literally could have had the world and you just took a shit on it.
You take the very first animated Disney movie and you put it live action. I'm sorry, if it's me and I'm just playing Dopey, I'm going to be the best Dopey on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is history.
Yep.
And you screw it up that bad just because you can't act to save your life? I mean, sure, they probably could have cast better people. A lot of people have that criticism.
They could have hired, real dwarves to give them give them jobs in the movie.
Yeah.
But they animated them.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. Disney's kind of gone. They're just, I'm going to start this now. They're doing the live actions for a money grab. Yeah. Look at Lion King. What did they show in Lion King for the trailer? It's just the opening, which is shot for shot the one from the animated movie.
Yeah.
Everything else about it is wrong.
I don't know, man.
Mulan was great. It was different, but Mulan was great.
Aladdin I thoroughly enjoyed.
Aladdin, was it wrong? No. Was it different? Yes. Was I apprehensive because Will Smith is playing a character that everybody knows is Robin Williams? Me and everybody else. But I watched the movie and I enjoyed his rendition.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't seen Dumbo. I have seen Alice in Wonderland. That one's all right. Jungle Book, phenomenal. Great movie. But
I think Disney just needs to kind of put their foot down and like, hey, maybe we should just stick to the classics and not
give me
take a shit on the history of our movies.
Give me an original movie or give me a live action faithful rendition of movies that people want a live action rendition of. Like Atlantis, like Treasure Planet.
Mm-hmm.
Like Buddy Whining. Sorry, I heard that.
Yeah, I did too.
Or give me sequels to movies we want a sequel to. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but I don't need Inside Out 2. I don't need Moana 2. I don't need Frozen 5. Give me Goofy Movie 3 where Max is an adult now.
That'd be cool.
And Goofy's a grandpa.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine?
That'd be the coolest thing ever.
Max is the adult.
Or, I don't know.
And his son is acting like how Max was back in the day.
Yep.
And he wants to spend time with his son. And Goofy's like, I told you.
Told you so. Give me Mickey Mouse Adventure movie?
Yeah.
Give me something like that?
Well,
I don't know. We
can go on another hour or so about Disney stuff, but
I'm barely hanging on for this hour.
Yeah. So, folks, like Menaki said here, after WrestleMania, we will get the wrestling stuff going.
Yep. That's in about a month, give or take.
Yeah. And hopefully at some point we can get our main stuff started with the podcast once you get everybody back, like the Suitcase and Grizz. Get a bunch more guests for the stuff that we want coming up.
Which means there's people that certain other people got to get a hold of.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Demonic Workout.
Yes.
Which I was going to ask you about, and I forgot. I just assumed you didn't because you didn't say a word about it.
Yeah. But
we got stuff going on.
Yeah, we will get to all that stuff.
Again, that was just we thought we had Grizz, and then I was planning on Grizz being at work, and he ended up not being at work. And it turns out 20 minutes before we were supposed to do this, he said he was sick. So we kind of quickly improvised.
Yeah. So, folks, all the updates are on our official Facebook page. Look us up on Maximum Mouthage. And
in closing, books are great.
Yes. Go read. And shove your face in it.
Go touch grass at the same time.
Yes. I like touching things. See ya, folks.
Bye.